Next on Worcester News tonight, local groups unite to fight against using plastic bags for recycling as a city proposal looks to switch from containers. Plus, an active shooter drill at a Worcester high school trains law enforcement how to respond to real-life scenarios. Good evening and thanks for joining us. I'm Olivia Lemon. Less humidity in Worcester today. There is a slight chance of showers this evening and it looks like a mostly clear weekend is ahead. Let's get a first look at our local forecast for more. Hey, good evening. I'm meteorologist Pamela Gardner. We had a fantastic Friday across Worcester. Comfortable air continues through 7 o'clock. One of those nights where you should either grill outside or eat outdoors. But with the dry air in place, maybe a little chilly once we get into the 9 o'clock hour, down to 65 degrees, 63 degrees, and cool by 11 o'clock. Mostly clear skies overnight tonight, and just beautiful stargazing conditions. 62 degrees for the overnight low in Worcester. The wind still from the west-southwest, and the wind will become gusty as we go into tomorrow afternoon. From the west-northwest, there is a little bit of a short wave moving our way. An increase in clouds you'll notice by the afternoon. Temperatures much cooler in the mid-70s and some low 70s once you go across the North Country. But there's also a chance for a spot shower popping up. And I'll have the hour-by-hour timing coming up in your full forecast, plus the whole weekend outlook. It's not a complete washout by any means. Your exclusive 10-day forecast coming up in just a bit. An active shooter drill in Worcester is part of a 3-day training program offered by Louisiana State University. City and state law enforcement took part in the training. The goal is for officers to learn from each other on how to respond. Our ERIN Keating joins us now to explain. ERIN.
Olivia, officers say their two big priorities today were to first stop the shooter and then treat the victims. This drill tried to simulate that in a very real way. In the halls of Worcester's North High School, police officers are being trained on how to approach a victim in an active shooter situation.
Training, especially with active shooter, is always ongoing. So being in the training division, I try to acquire as much training as I can so I can bring the best, the newest, the latest, the greatest elements of training to the police academies.
Louisiana State University instructors are in Worcester training both city and state law enforcement in an active shooter response course. Worcester police officer Paul Sir says the different scenarios deal with more than taking down the shooter.
After we stop the killing, the active shooter portion of it, then we have to stop the dying. So there we really start stepping over into the medical field. Once we secure the scene the best we can, we have to apply tourniquets, combat gauze, and just address any of the medical needs that some of these critically wounded have.
Instructors organize live action hostage and active shooter scenarios for officers. Sir says training like this is important for all levels of law enforcement.
Because ultimately what it comes down to is going to be the patrolman who's working the streets, who's able to get in the building first because they're going to be in the area. So they have to be capable and have the training to be able to respond.
Joe Haddabow says he hopes the officers who participated bring back what they learned to their different departments. The training and exercise coordinator for the Massachusetts Emergency Management Agency says police officers are trainers themselves.
They are teachers, they are trainers, and they go back and not only teach their officers and in-service, but they're also working with the schools in their towns, with their student resource officers.
And unfortunately, when it comes to active shooter, the warrior in each cop has to come out. You really have to just, get it within yourself, wherever you find it from, and be able to get in the building and stop the dying. You have to neutralize the threat.
Both Haddabow and Sir say the more training the better, so officers will know how to react more quickly. In studio, ERIN Keating, Worcester News Tonight.
As funerals get underway for the victims of a deadly mass shooting in El Paso, we're learning more about what happened before the attack. The suspect's mother telling police she was concerned when he bought an AK-47 style rifle, but since he was 21, had no criminal record and was not mentally ill, they told her they couldn't do anything. The heartbreak shared by families in Dayton, Ohio, where residents held a vigil today for the victims of another mass shooting the same day. A shocking discovery in Worcester as police find a hand grenade among school supplies donated to a church. The grenade wasn't active but was dropped off at St. Bernard's Church on Lincoln Street. Worcester and State Police along with the ATF were called in. They deemed the area safe. Police say there was no threat to the church. A firefighter from Central Mass is facing charges for the alleged sexual assaults of 2 children. We're also learning it's not the first time he's been accused of the crime. Alicia Palumbo has the latest from Uxbridge.
45-year-old Uxbridge firefighter Abraham Rodas of Douglas is on paid administrative leave from the department after he was charged Friday with 3 counts of indecent assault and battery on a child under 14. Court documents allege Rodas sexually assaulted 2 girls around the age of 10 multiple times inside his Douglas home, allegedly inappropriately kissing one of the girls and inappropriately touching and rubbing his genitals up against the other.
Obviously, it's very disappointing to be dealing with this, but we need to respect the employees' presumption of innocence until proven or pleading guilty.
But Rodas faced similar charges back in 2007 when he was a firefighter in the neighboring town of Douglas. In that case, he was acquitted of statutory rape of a child, but convicted of assault and battery on a child and put on probation for 2 years. Rodas was fired from the Douglas Fire Department shortly after that 2009 conviction, but hired by Uxbridge shortly after that. How could Uxbridge Fire Department have hired him if that was what he was accused of and fired for in Douglas?
Currently, most fire departments and police departments do background checks on potential employees. Whether that was done at that time, I really don't know.
Rodas was released on $10,000 bail. He's due back in court on September 10th. Town officials plan to meet with town council on Monday to discuss Rodas's status with the town going forward. In Uxbridge, Alicia Palumbo, Worcester News Tonight.
Worcester firefighters donating more than $20,000 to the Muscular Dystrophy Association. Firefighters presented a check to the MDA Friday morning. The money collected came from their Fill the Boot drive. Worcester firefighters spread out across the city taking donations.
Every year we get together, usually in May. We try to do 4 hours to collect certain intersections in the whole city. We have 6 intersections. We try to flood that area with firefighters, and we collect money as much as we can.
And the firefighters donated $23,682. They say they surpassed last year's totals. The man charged in a deadly mass pike crash killing a state trooper is waiving his right to a jury trial. David NJUGUNA has agreed to a bench trial in Worcester Superior Court. Prosecutors alleged NJUGUNA was driving under the influence of marijuana when he hit the parked cruiser of Trooper Thomas Clardy on the Mass Pike in Charlton in 2016. Clardy died at the scene. NJUGUNA faces multiple charges, including manslaughter. His trial is set for October 21st. The site at Polar Park is officially a construction zone. Crews started digging Thursday. The entire area is now blocked off. Earlier this week, the team laid the bases in their spots for the first time. Gilbane Hunt Senior Project Executive Mike Mallett says it's a one-of-a-kind project for both the city and Gilbane Hunt.
It's something that you don't get to do every day. So when a project like this comes up and we're bringing it into Massachusetts, into Worcester, and to be able to be part of bringing this area up with the Worcester Redevelopment Authority is really something special. So we're very, very excited.
And Mallett says the ballpark is still expected to open on time in the spring of 2021. A group of activists are speaking out against the city manager's proposal of clear plastic recycle bags. They say if Worcester is trying to become more green and efficient, adding more plastic is not the right way. The city council hasn't decided on the issue yet. Our Cam Jandro is in Worcester now with more. Cam.
Olivia, the city manager unveiled his Clean City program earlier this year. Those plastic bags are part of that. And it seems like since then, there's been a nonstop back and forth debate on whether or not the city should actually use these bags. And it doesn't seem like we're going to have an answer to that question anytime soon. And for a group of local activists, that's actually not a bad thing.
Environmental activists have a message for the city. Plastic recycle bags are a bad idea.
We don't just have this one choice, which is a one-size-fits-all solution to a problem that is very specific to a small number of residents.
VICK, MOHANKA, and Clean Water Action Massachusetts say they support the proposed Clean City program, except the bags. Their fear is they may actually keep residents from recycling.
There's a large population in Worcester that can't afford $2-3 bus ride, and we're asking them to spend an extra $2 or $3 every week or every month.
The cost of both small and large yellow trash bags would increase by 50 cents each if the clear recycle bags are approved. But for others, the environmental impact remains their top concern.
We're talking about 2.4 million new plastic bags every single year. That's about 135 tons of new plastic waste.
A vote was expected at the July 23rd council meeting, but councilors remain divided on the issue. Some are glad a decision is yet to be made.
I think there needs to be more of a dialogue between the city and the community.
Activist Judy Diamondstone says if litter is the city's concern, she'd rather see more neighborhood cleanups or have more recycle bins available for residents.
We need to educate and engage our community residents. We need to invest in people, not in plastics.
Now at Tuesday's City Council meeting, Mayor Joe Petty will be asking the City Council whether or not they can send the item back to the city manager so he can further study the impact of these plastic bags. In Worcester, I'm Cam Jandro, Worcester News Tonight.
The Highland Street Foundation is offering free events every Friday across the state. This week, visitors got a chance to check out the Worcester Historical Museum. The day featured activities from the past. Galleries included the first person who settled in Worcester, inventions, the Smiley, and Dr. Robert Goddard.
The 1960s, because of our LGBTQ exhibit and the Stonewall Revolution or Rebellion of 1969, the moon landing of 1969 that had so many Worcester products as part of it. And you may know that Neil Armstrong, when he said this is one small step for man, he said that through a headset made at David Clark Company in Worcester, Massachusetts.
And Free Fun Fridays offer visitors no-cost admission to many venues in Massachusetts. The Highland Street Foundation says the program was created to increase access and opportunities for children and families throughout the state.